Hey, it's Mr. O from Music Hands. We're continuing to look at drums inside GarageBand. Over the last few videos, we've been looking at some of the different techniques we can use to create fly beats. Today we're looking specifically at the wave or samples and loops inside GarageBand, and we're going to cut them, split them, splice them, and we're going to make them sound very slick. So let's jump in. Alright, here we are inside GarageBand. This is the last part of our series looking at drums in GarageBand on your iPad or your iPhone. We've looked at the acoustic or the live drums, the beat sequencer, also the virtual drummer. This time we're going to look at samples and loops and a little quick brief moment on the smart drums. So if you want to open up samples and loops, if you go to an instrument and you haven't recorded anything, you can't actually access your arrange page. So I found a quick way to get your loop browser open is to open up an audio recorder or microphone, and you'll see the brick wall is now at the top of the page. Now my loops have appeared in the corner. I'm going to tap on my loop icon. And the loop section is split into three in our navigation. We have our instruments, our genres, and our descriptors. So you can search by description. Not going to work very well for drum kit. The genres will work very well. You might notice that some of your sounds have been grayed out. That's because of this box, what type of instrument you're looking for. I find it's usually pretty good just to hit X and reset everything when you first start to browse. So we're looking specifically at drums. I'm going to tap on my instruments, and we're not going to select all drums because that would give us African drums and things like that. We're looking at drum beats or drum kits. So I'm going to select kits. I'm going to open up my genre, and I think I'm going to go for the hip hop and R&B. And now I'll just play a couple of the samples here. So I've just triggered that. You can see it's running live. We also have some of the virtual drummer tracks, you can tell because they're yellow. The blue are the waves. So there's loads of cool beats here to select from. You'll see there's 52 in total within the hip hop menu. I'm going to go for I think I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to pull this across. And you'll notice it's created its own drummer track. I could have put it up here in this track, but that would add the effects from this track on. So the reverb, the vocal hall, the compression. I'm just going to keep it on my drum track for now. Okay, I now have a wave or a sample, a loop inside GarageBand. The first thing I'm going to do is set my song length, just a couple of bars. Keep it quick for you guys as you watch. I'll play my loop. Cool. I'm going to select my loop, and now I can drag the end of my waveform to select the length I want my sample to play. Okay, nice and simple. With the touch software, it's really easy, very handy. Another thing I can do is double tap on my wave and open up now my editor. You'll see I have a few different options. The first thing I'm going to do is resize my wave, and then I'm going to say loop. So let's just create this as a loop. Double tap, and I'm going to select the loop, not split. Let's try that again. And now I have my loop. And it just repeats that section. Depending on where you set your wave, that is how your sample will loop. So you can get quite creative rhythms, especially if you cut the wave on one of these main beat bars like this. You'll get a kind of broken rhythm. it's not giving you that straight 4 count. It's a little bit experimental, slightly different. So that's a simple way to loop. So notice if I loop this out now and I double tap, I now have a new feature called trim. Trim gives me the ability to move where my loop is going to begin and how much of my loop is going to play in the sample. I'll extend my loop somewhat. Trim's a really cool feature for building or making a tweak to the loop to make it more yours. You can see I've kind of gone off beat there. So I use the trim feature as well. I'm just going to undo those steps. Excellent. And I'll extend my wave back out. So that's all within the double tap of the waveform looking at loop. And once you've created a loop, you can then trim that loop as well. So let me find a new sample. If I don't want this one anymore, double tap and delete. I'm going to have a look at some other drums now. I know they have some awesome vintage breaks. The Billie Jean style rhythm. Quite a few very cool vintage breaks. This rhythm is one of my favorite. So we're going to work with that. So our next feature we're going to look at is splitting or trimming the wave. If I double tap on the wave and I select split, it gives me a pair of scissors and I can now cut up this wave wherever I want. Say if I want to split here and I just want to cut this snare out of my break. Okay, you'll notice there was a clip there because as you can see, the wave isn't very flush. So I would zoom in and just roll that back a bit. I wouldn't usually cut a snare out in that way. But what I will do is just chop out a section that I really like. I think this little roll here is pretty cool. And so is this section from the kick. I think I'm going to cut this and just take this loop here. I'm going to copy that. And if I now select paste, it's going to paste it on a track below. I'm going to loop this on top and I'm going to do that again, paste that loop. So you'll notice that it's not perfect. You can see the waveform has a little bit missing. And if I play that, it will be a little bit glitchy. Just to tidy that up, I'm just going to drag this waveform over the other one. And now it'll sound nice and smooth. Okay, sweet. So with my split, I've now created a very cool break. Check it out. Fantastic. So double tap, I'm going to edit this wave. You'll see I have settings that I haven't looked at yet. What I could do is maybe pitch this last part of my loop up a couple of semitones. Let's have a listen to that. It's maybe a little bit extreme. You might be able to find a very good application for that in what you're doing. I think a pitch or a transposition up works quite well if you also reverse that part. Let's have a listen to that. Okay, pretty cool. So I've went into my settings specifically on that part of the wave. I've added my semitones and I've reversed it. You'll see there's another couple of features there, such as follow tempo pitch. If I take that off, it's now going to drop out of time. See, it drops out of time with the rest of the waves, which might be pretty cool if you're ending your song or ending the break and you want to use that feature. For now, I'm going to keep this in time, and I think I'm going to use my pitch up and my reverse, and I've got a very, very cool break there. So finally, if I was to want to just make a nice edit to this, just give it that finishing touch, I would go to my smart drums. We didn't look specifically at the smart drums. They are very straightforward. As you can see, wherever you put the instrument, it's going to be loud at the top, quiet at the bottom, simple to the left-hand side, and complex to the right-hand side. You can hear loud and complex. And down here, simple and quiet. And you can build your drum beat or program your drum beat. I'm going to add in this kit because I want some shaker and some tambourine. And with this app, you have to record it into your song. Okay, sweet. So I've got a pretty slick waveform that I've cut and edited, and I've just added in some tambourines and some shakers using the smart drums. There we go, cutting and splicing loops and samples inside GarageBand. I really enjoyed making that loop and that break for you. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, and if you want to learn more about sampling or the software instruments and the effects processors inside GarageBand on the iPad or iPhone, subscribe, because over the next few weeks we're going to be moving on. That's our series on drums inside GarageBand finished. If you're just tuning in, have a look through the last few videos. We've discussed the live drums and the sequencer as well. So we're almost hitting 300 subscribers. Thank you for those who've joined us recently, and we'll be continuing our journey to GarageBand like a boss. Peace.